Well, hi, this is Jessica Armstrong, and I am so grateful to you for letting me have a look at some of this exciting instrument sales data. I want to apologize for my delay in getting back to you. I was celebrating Easter with my family, and I hadn't done the necessary preparation to get it done in advance of yesterday's holiday. But hopefully you'll be fine with looking at it today. So first of all, tons of data. Thanks so much for that. Over 7,000 lines of information that pertain to the sales of your musical instruments all over the country in the contiguous 48 states. So it's very exciting to see all of that wonderful data. And my goodness, the profit numbers are really astounding. So because there's so many lines of data, I needed to visualize it in order to really get my head around it. And hopefully I can share some of those visualizations with you now. Let me see if I can get my screen to share. So I'm using Tableau, which is a great visualization software that allows you to bring in some data and then mess around with it visually so you can see what's going on. And the first thing I did here to even just start to get my head around the data was to put together a little table that shows profit numbers by department and region. So from this, it's super obvious that strings are our low performing department for some reason. Now, I had been advised that some of the data might not be 100%, hadn't been checked or cleansed. So you can see that these profit numbers described are very high. And if they are not in line with what your actual experience is, I'd be super interested to hear more about that. But I'm thinking even if we lost 2 decimal points, we'd still be looking at some significant profits. So hopefully it's accurate to determine that and just kind of gauge its reliability. I went ahead and did another visualization where I put not only the profit data by department and region, but I also added the unit sales. And as you can see, they're very much proportional. They're in a line. It's not, wildly off. It's just that if these numbers are off by a couple of decimal points, it wouldn't be surprising because, wow, that's a ton of profit. But they are in line with the unit sales, about the same shape. So from this, I'm interested in seeing how are the regions comparing to each other in terms of sales. So I just put together this little pie chart showing unit sales here just for a little different metric, but we can see that this represents the West with a larger share of units sold, and we just saw that tracks with profit numbers as well. Then the South, which is by far the lowest. It's still not too shabby, of course. The profit there is $1 billion. So doing great. And again, if we lost a couple of decimal places, it would look worse. But still, not terrible, but not great. Nevertheless, these 2 regions, this is the highest performing, and this is the lowest performing. And I thought that might offer some interesting insights. So I explored them a little more. Also wanted to look at how we're doing. I think we kind of already looked at this one. So let me just skip on to this one. By item, the specific items within each category, and then side by side 2020 to 2021, which are the 2 years for which we have data here. And it becomes really obvious immediately that the clarinets just went bananas in 2021. For some reason, clarinets, and we can see this is the case across the country, that clarinets just ended up being enormously popular in 2021. Um, this profit map that we'll look at next also just shows us where the areas of highest profit are. California and New York are the states that lead the charge here. All right, so I was just looking at all this data and getting all of this information, and I put together a little story about it. We've seen this. This is where the starting point where we see that strings are a low performer. But overall, if the provided data are accurate, we're looking at an extremely profitable company here. We want to dive down into item and regional sales to see where specifically we can improve some more. This is the same pie chart I showed earlier. And so based on this information, we want to see how sales can be improved in the South and even in the West. We'll look at item and date data by state to help formulate our sales and marketing strategy. To be honest, when I first made this, I started out with regional maps of the South and the West. But overall, I finally determined that I actually wanted to look at all the states and not just specifically the South and West. All of them are quite high performing, and was looking, to see what I could see across the board. So let me just click on Texas and talk you through what we've got here. This shows that saxophone sales in 2021. This one here is going to be your very popular 2021 clarinets, even in Texas. Now, trumpets had been popular the year before, as had clarinets, of course, but they've just grown in popularity significantly in 2021. Looking at the month profits by month, we can see that the brass department, which includes your tubas and trombones and trumpets and stuff, is performing well in Texas, and that strings are the lowest performer. Here we are seeing lower sales in the summer months, May, June, July, than in the rest of the year here in Texas. And that plays out in a lot of places. So let's look at Virginia, for example. Here we observe clarinets, not quite as popular as saxophones in Virginia, but we do still see the same level of low sales in the summer months, May, June, July, and this goes all the way into August. Even in New York, we see a valley where sales are high all the year long. We see a dip here in the summer months. Let's see if I can minimize that. South Dakota, there's a dip between December and February each year. That's a big one, but that includes the summer months. A valley in Wyoming, an enormous gap here in Nevada. So the summer months struck me as a place where we needed to focus. And I also thought, since strings is represented so little, even in the high selling state of California, see strings. What if we got rid of strings? Is that a really profitable area? So I wanted to look at how much profit each unit made on average and have a look at this beautiful continuity. Overall, on average, in all the departments across all the regions, the average profit per unit only ranges from $868 to $938. Now, I think that's a good profit margin in general. And again, if we lost 2 decimal places, I would be surprised because musical instruments are expensive to make. But this consistency leads me to believe that we don't actually need to discontinue strings. They're just as profitable as our others within that narrow range. So my recommendation is that we open a new revenue stream. We initiate summer band camps in each of the regions. We provide programs in brass bands, orchestra, symphony, and marching bands to allow opportunities for each of our departments to grow, give strings an opportunity. This would also increase the corporate responsibility reputation of the company by providing children's programming and the opportunity to provide scholarships or free instruments to students with a demonstrable financial need. In addition, a new revenue stream opens up for the company and profitability increases. Let's see if I can get back to my teams and see if you guys have any questions. So, summer camps, this is my proposition. I think it would increase profitability of this already enormously profitable company. It helps improve the company's corporate responsibility reputation, and also gives us the good feeling of providing a real service to our community. Please let me know if you have any questions. And I want to endorse Tableau as a software for visualizing, especially large amounts of data. It's extremely drag and drop, easy to use, and user-friendly, and creates the kind of lovely graphs and charts and interactions that I demonstrated for you here. If there's another visualization you'd like to see, I'm happy to do it for you. And I hope that we can work together in the future. Thanks so much.